Hello. We'd like to look at some SAT problem-solving questions here. This will be the questions from section 2. Now, here downloads can type W words in M minutes. Which of the following represents this average? Average basically means, and then notice that it's per minute, then we need to divide by minute. W words per minute in this way. This will be our answer, therefore, which is choice B. Alright, how about number 2? Angelic invites 42 people for conference. Now, 8 people declined, and rest of accepted. On the day of conference, snowstorm prevented half of those people who accepted. So we used to have 42, but 8 people has been declining, so we have 34 left. Now, but out of that, half of them didn't make it to a conference, so no longer, if no longer people accepted or declined, what fraction of the Angelians' original 42 people accepted attended the conference? Half of them didn't come, so therefore we have 17 people actually came out of 42. So therefore, choice E would have been our answer. Let us look at this question for a second. So we have a graph here: papers published, number of papers, and years. Now, the question here is that for the year 2000 through 2008, for which of the following year was the number of papers published closest to the average of the number of papers published in 2002 to 2003. 2002 was around here, and 2003 was around here. Average between 2 points will be somewhere around the middle. Then it seems to be 2006 seems to be the answer here, as you can see. Choice C. Number 4. So Jean Paul is making a place setting for Sunday's brunch. He wants to make sure no two plates next to each other has the same side of the table, and no two plates directly across from each other. The table are the same color. So, if the setting table B's are labeled blue, how many of the 9 remaining settings cannot be blue? So therefore, whatever is next to it or directly across from it cannot be blue. So it cannot be this one, because next to this one, and nor these two. How about here? It cannot be this, nor this, because they are across or right next to. So therefore, we are looking at total 6. Cannot be blue. Alright, number 5. X is positive, Y is negative, must be positive. That means somehow Y has to be, which is negative, becoming positive. How could it be possible? Now, that's right. When you look into choice C, you see negative and then Y was negative. Those two combined together becomes positive. So our answer becomes choice number C. Alright, number 6. Which of the following is the greatest? Now, it's seemingly D seems to be the greatest because of the looks, but we need to actually calculate what those values are. Do you see the quadrilateral here? Because sum of the angles in a quadrilateral is 360. So D must be equal to, out of 360, we need to subtract 100, subtract 75, subtract 65. Then in fact, let us see what we end up getting. Here, that's equal to 360 minus 240, which will be equal to 120. So therefore, our answer will be yes, D seems to be the greatest. But we have to check upon other values, C and B. B will be equal to 108, 105, because supplementary. And C seems to be supplementary to 65. Then in fact, wait a minute, this becomes 115, very close to add up to 180. And A and E are the acute angles. So therefore, our answer seems to be D. Now, number 7. Albert's diet allows him to consume no more than 450 calories. No more than, that means it has to be less than or equal to. So we're looking at this one possibly, and so is this one. But he decided to have 3 mini muffins, which each contains 140 calories. That means we gotta multiply those by 3, such as these two. And a drink. If n represents the number of the calories that his drink can contain. But the thing is, when you are combining the drink and the muffins, has to be less than 450. So our answer will be choice B. Number 8. How many lines can be drawn from one vertex of the cube to other vertex of the cube such that, alright, they're not parallel to any edges of the cube? So then what I'm going to do is this. Let me try to bring this one out. So let us pick one particular corner. Now, as you can see, if I draw a line here, then that will be parallel to one on the bottom. If I draw a line here, then that will be parallel to one on the bottom here. If I draw the line over here, then that will also be parallel to any one of these vertical lines, which gives us only a few more choices here. Then another possibility is here 1, 2, 3, 4. Those are the 4 possibilities where we can draw the line and that they are not parallel to any other edges. So therefore our answer becomes 4. Let us look at this one together. This one, in fact, looks like we have a function, original parabola y equals x squared, but has been shifted to the left by 3 units. Moving to the left by 3 units, that means x has to be added by 3 values, or 3 units. So which will be choice A. And in fact, you can actually graph this one if you wanted to. Now here, w plus x. W plus x means these two angles. Then when you look into that, that will be in fact equal to this value right over here. Why don't I call it as A? By the measure of the exterior angle. Now, then here, what you will be realizing is this. Because y is equal to 88, z will be also equal to 88. If z is equal to 88, what's the value of A? A will be 180 minus 88, which will be equal to 92. Here we have two expressions. Now what is h of 5 minus h of 3? All we have to do is simply plug in those two values and subtract. So h of 5 will be equal to plug in 5 here, then we'll end up getting 15 over 2 plus 1. 15 over 2 is 7.5. So we have 8.5 here. Now f of 3 is simply 4 over 3 times 3. So we get 4. When you subtract them, we end up getting 4.5. Number 12. So in the figure above, ABCE is a parallelogram, and then the triangle is an equilateral triangle. So then AE is 8. So here is 8. The perimeter of the triangle is 18. That means each side must be 6. What is the perimeter of the parallelogram? 8, 8, 6, 6. That's it. That's what we end up getting. So when you add up 8 plus 8 plus 6 plus 6, I believe it becomes 28. Number 13. The class of 8 students has average of 76. Whenever you see the word average, we can always refer to the sum. So, average of 8 students is equal to 76. Then what is the sum of those 8 students? We just have to multiply those two. (76) times 8. We get 608. Now, oh, in fact, actually I misread it. I'm sorry about that. So here we have 76 on his first test, and then on the second test, all but 2 students received the same score as they did on the first test. Oh, in fact, actually, my bad. Yes. So on the first exam, I'm just reading it one more time. On the first exam, average was 76. And on the second exam, all but 2 students received the same score as they did on the first test. One student received 96 instead of 72. And then the other received 70 instead of 62. What was the average score of the second exam? So as we mentioned earlier, the sum on the first exam was 608. But when you look into the second exam, what will be our new sum? In fact, we received 96 instead of 72. Then what would happen is from original sum, we in fact received 24 points more. So we're going to add 24 points. But on the second, we lost 8 points. So in fact, we end up having 624. Out of 624, that would be our new sum. So what we need to do is this: from 624, we need to divide this one by 8. That will be our new average. Then, once you do this one, I believe that it becomes 76. So therefore, 78 becomes our answer. Alright, let's look into number 14 together. Table above shows the number of the animals at a particular pet store according to type and animals. Now, if a dog is to be chosen, so we're looking at these things will be chosen somehow at random. What is the probability that the dog is less than 3 months old? That means we are looking at 8. But out of how many dogs? Yes, we altogether have 32 dogs, which is simply equal to 1/4. Here, 4 congruent circles with centers A, B, C, D inscribed in the square, as you can see here. Now, if the area of the square W, X, Y, Z is 4, that means each side is equal to 2. Now, what is the total length of the darkened curve? So in fact, when you look, we see another small square inside, then this, in fact, each portion becomes 3/4. Each one is 3/4 of a circumference. Well, we in fact have 4 of those. So what we are actually calculating is 3 times of a circumference. How do you calculate the circumference? That's equal to 2 pi r or pi d. But what is our diameter? Diameter is one portion over here. So since the whole side is equal to 2, the diameter is half of that, which is equal to 1. Our answer therefore becomes 3 pi. Number 16. If a is non-negative integer, which means it can be a 0, b is a positive multiples of 4, how many possible distinct values of a times b are less than 10? So when we have a and b, a can be 0. Then whatever it is, a, b, will always be equal to 0. How about A is equal to 1? Then B can be 1, no, B can be 4 or 8. So we have two options, 4 or 8. If A is equal to 2, then only option is B being equal to 4. So that's still 8. We have three options. Number 17. Now in these kind of cases, all we have to do is follow the direction. So this symbol A, this symbol B becomes this way. So what I'm going to do is this. I'm going to try to follow the first one. So we have 1 squared times B, which is 2, plus 1 times 2 squared. Then here we have, this becomes 2, and this becomes 4, so we end up getting 6. The second round, what's going to be happening is we're going to then use the 6 and 3. Then we have 6 squared times 3 plus 6 times 3 squared. Now here it becomes 36. 36 times 3 becomes 108. And 6 times 9 becomes 54. So we end up getting 162, which is choice E. Now number 18. In a sequence of numbers, first term is x, and then the ratio of the subsequent term is the 3 to 1. Then its first term is x, second term becomes 3x, third term becomes 3 times of that, hence the ratio 3 to 1 becomes 9x. Now, then we actually, represents the difference, meaning subtraction between the fourth and the second. So we just have to go for one more. 27x would be the 3 times of that. Difference between fourth and second becomes 24x. Number 19. The length of the line segment with endpoints L and P is the positive integers less than 24. Okay. So, if you're to just use the line segment here, let us say this is L, this is P. Now, M is the midpoint. So let us say this is M, and Ln are always the midpoint of NP. N is the midpoint. My bad. N is the midpoint, and M is the midpoint of Ln, and O is the midpoint of NP. Now, which of the following could be the distance between M and P? M and P, basically this becomes 3/4 of the LP. Then what's the restriction of LP? LP is the positive integer less than 24. So in order for this one to be the integers less than 24, that means what we get to realize is, and then this one has to be one of these values. Then let's see what could have happened. Then, given this value, since this one has to be integer, then LP, in other words, will be equal to 4/3 times x. X is the value that which we are looking at over here. Then once you look into them, you will realize that in order for LP to be the integer, x has to divide 3. That means x has to be multiples of 3, such as possibly A or possibly D. What if you have to be A? Then we will end up getting 18 divided by 3, which is 6 times 4, 24. So LP would have been 24, but LP has to be less than 24. So therefore, our answer has to be choice D, 15. Now, y is negative value. Which of the following could be true? In this case, we just have to find the possibility of true. Now, in fact, you will realize that soon A can never be true. This y is negative, but you square them, making it into positive. Z is also negative. Z can be any number, but when you square them, it becomes positive. So positive times positive becomes positive. So therefore, our answer will be choice A.